Hey everybody, it's Jason with the Boardgame Mechanics, and today we're going to take a look at a game called Scout. Scout is a game published by, let me make sure I say this correctly, One More Game Japan. There's also a new version out from Oink Games. They're bringing it at least to America. I got this one from BGG. It's designed by Kei Kajino. I may have said that name incorrectly. I do apologize. And it plays 3 to 5 players in 15 to 20 minutes. And effectively what you're doing in this game is you are trying to get rid of all your cards. And the way you're going to be doing that is by playing runs of cards down, or of a kind of cards to beat the amount of cards that the person before you played. If you can beat what they played, you take their cards as points, and now people have to try to beat yours. But people can also scout from your cards, meaning they can take the card from either of the ends, put it in their hand however they want, because one of the rules in this game is you can't rearrange your hand. You have to play cards where they lay. So you're trying to scout to put cards into your hand to maybe make a better run, a better set, all that kind of thing. But if you do that on the cards I played, I get a point. And that's it. And you're trying to have the most points at the end of the number of rounds, which is the same as the number of players. And that's it. So let's go down to the table, see how all that works.
Why are you like this?
All right, so here's a game of Scout, all set up for 4 players. So to set up in a 4-player game, you're going to take out a single card, which is this 10 with a 9 on the side. So you take that out. Then you're going to deal out the rest of the, shuffle the cards and deal out evenly the rest of the cards to all the players. Then each player is going to get a Scout and Play token, and you're going to have the Scout tokens, which are these little S tokens here, off to the side. They'll come into play later. And in my version, there are 2 of these power lookup tables. Once you've played the game a couple times, you're not going to need this, but it'll be there so you know kind of what beats what when you're playing cards. All right? Now, when you get your hand, you're not allowed to rearrange the cards, and you're going to take a look at the cards and make your first decision here, all right? So the first decision is, do you want to play the cards? You can see the cards have dual numbers. They have a big number and a little number. What that means is, if I play these cards this way, these are the numbers that I'm looking at. If I flip them over, these are the numbers that I'm looking at, all right? So at the very beginning of the game, you're allowed to either decide if you want to play your cards this way or the other way. And because I have 3 10s in a row, I'm actually going to flip these around and play them the other way. So now I have those 3 10s, all right? And I'm ready to play. Then you're going to determine a start player any way you want. The way that I like to do it is there's actually a start player card. See if I can find it. I don't know who has it. Let's see. Do you have it? Nope. So it must be this player has a start player card. It's this card. It has a 1 and a 2, and it says start player. If you have that card, you get to go first. You can determine that however you want, but I like to do that. And everybody else is going to play their cards. They have their cards set up and are ready to go. So that player's first. The way the game works is on your turn, you're going to play some kind of cards down on the table. You have a couple options. You can play a single card. You can play consecutive numbers of cards, like 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5, whatever. Or you can play of a kind cards. Now, the rule is if there's nothing on the table, you can play anything you want. If someone's played, then the person after them has to play a higher set, and we'll get into that. So since this player's first, they're going to try to play some stuff to make their hand better, because you're not allowed to rearrange. So let's do... I'm actually just going to play 2 6s here. 2 6s. So they play 2 6s. Now, when it comes to me, I have a couple options. I can play 2 7s, because it has to be, if it's the same number of cards, it has to be higher. Or I can play a run of 3, whatever 3 numbers in a row, because that's more cards than 2. But I cannot play a single card, because 2 cards is greater than 1 card. All right. So then I go to my cards, and I think I'm going to just go ahead and bust out my big dog here, and I'm going to play these 3 10s. Now, I'm going to play the 3 10s. When you play cards that beat the other person's run, you take those cards, You put them face down in front of you, and those are points at the end of the game. All right? So now, 10, 3 10s to this player. Let's see what we got here. Can they do anything? They cannot. So they're going to do the other action in the turn, and that's scout. So when you scout, you're allowed to take either of the cards from the current run or the current set of cards that's on the table and put them in your hand wherever you want with either number showing. All right? So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this 2 here. So I'm going to take this 10 and 2. I'm going to make it a 2. I'm going to put it in my hand right there. So now I have a 4, 3, 2. And because I took this card from this person's run, they now get a point, which is this little token. All right. Now that's this player's turn. Then it goes to this player. Now they have to try to beat 2 10s with their cards. So let's see what they can do here. They cannot do that. So what they want to do is they're going to scout this 8. They're going to put this 8 right there so they can have 3 8s. That gives me another scout token. And they're actually going to use their scout and play. Once per round, you're allowed to scout and play. Normally it's play or scout, but they're going to cash in their token. They're going to scout and play, and they're going to play these 3 8s. So they play 3 8s, they score this card. All right. Now it's this player's turn. They need to try to beat 3 8s, which I don't think they can do. They cannot. So they're going to... These cards suck. Guess they're going to scout this 8. They'll put it right here. So they put it next to this 7 here. So now they have a 7 and an 8. And this player now gets a scout token. Back to me. 2 8s. I cannot beat 2 8s. So let's do... I'm going to take this 8, which is a 4. I'm going to use it as a 4. Put it right there so I have a 4 5 4 5, which is pretty nice. They get another scout token. Then it's back to this player. They haven't played any cards yet, so it'd be nice for them to be able to play some cards. And I think they're going to go ahead and play 2 3 4. They score this card. All right, and that's how the game's going to keep playing. You're going to keep going like that until one of 2 things happens. If someone plays a set of cards and everybody scouts and it gets it back around to them, the game is over. Then you're going to go to scoring. Or if someone runs out of cards in their hand, the round is over. And then scoring happens. So in the first instance, if someone plays the cards and everybody scouts, any cards that you have left over in your hand are not going to be negative. But if someone runs out of cards in their hand when the round ends, every card that you still have left is a negative point. So then what's going to happen is you're going to count the cards in your hand, you're going to look at the cards you have for scoring, and you're going to determine your score. So hopefully you get positive. It's possible to get negatives. Then you're going to keep track of scoring. In this edition, there's no score sheet, but you can use a piece of paper or whatever. And then that's the end of the round. Then you're going to take all the cards, shuffle them up again, deal them all out, figure out the start player, and you're going to play the number of rounds equal to the number of players. And then after those amount of rounds, whoever has the most points is the winner. And that is how you play Scout. Let's go to the top. See what you think about it.
What do you think, son? What do you think?
All right, well, that was Scout. So let's talk about the components. The components for this version are pretty nice. I like them. Got this little Scout and Play token, just a nice little cardboard chit. Got these Scout tokens, which are just a little circle with an S, just so you know you're getting a point. And the cards are really nice. They're pretty flexible. I think they're like PVC or something. They don't feel like regular card quality. They're really nice. They, if you bend them, they bend back. I like the art. It's a themeless game, but I like the back of the cards. I like the iconography on the front. It's got both the number down here for one side, the number up here. There's different colors too, which is cool. Yeah, themeless game, but cool art. I also like the first player condition, which if I can find that card. If you want to do this, if somebody gets this card, they can be first player. That's cool. Yeah, and that's the components. And 2 of these in my version. 2 of these with English on one side, and I think it's Japanese on the other. The company's from Japan, so I'm assuming it's Japanese. Yeah, so yeah, rule book's really easy. This is the rule book. This front and back. That's it. tells you everything you need to know, and that's it. So the components are fine. It's a little card game, so you don't need to have great components, but for what this game gives you, I like it. Now let's talk about the gameplay. I love this game. So the first time I played this, I played with the new Oink version, which has it's purple and orange, has like a tent on the cover. Gameplay is effectively the same. There's the other version gives you little chits to keep track of points. This one doesn't have a way to keep track of points from round to round, so you need a piece of paper or something. But the gameplay is unchanged. That the only difference between that one and this one is the scoring tokens and the way it looks. That's it. So no matter what version of this game you're going to be able to find, it will play the same. And I love this. I love card games that are simple, that kind of reference classic card games. Like this has a little bit of rummy feel, a little bit of what's the other game? Phase 10 feel. But really, you're also trying to get rid of cards. So it's got that modern like teach you feel where you're trying to get rid of all your cards and all that kind of thing. And it's just fun. It's just a good time. And you can play it over and over and over. And each game's going to feel different. The more players you have, the crazier it's going to get. I don't particularly like this at 3, which is the lowest player count. I would play this at 4 or 5 only, because when it comes to the scouting, when the round ends where everybody scouts and it gets back to me, it happens almost every single time in a 3-player game. So I don't love that, so I would play this at 4 or 5. But if I have the chance to play it at 3, I'll play it at 3. I just would rather not. But aside from the 3-player thing, I love everything about this game. It's fun. The decision at the beginning, do you want to play your cards this way or do you want to flip them upside down and play them the other way? That's a very important decision because it's going to last the entire round. Scouting is super important. You can take a card, put it either way you want, wherever you want in your hand. That can maybe give you a huge set. It can maybe break up something that was causing you some problems. Very awesome, interesting, and fun. I love it. So I'm going to give this a BGG Accept the Seal. This is going to get a 9 out of 10 on BGG, which is a 4.5 out of 5 wrenches. On our arbitrary wrench scale, that means absolutely nothing. But we like to give it the games that we enjoy, and that's what I'm going to do. So that is Scout from, I keep forgetting the publisher again, sorry. One More Game, Japan. And I'm Jason with the Board Game Mechanics, and as always, keep gaming.